Hi, this is Katie, and thank you for joining me on the My Senses, My Space podcast. And today I wanted to talk about acceptance in meeting yourself where you are and accepting that you'll make mistakes. So what is acceptance? Acceptance can be really looking at where you are in this moment, accepting yourself and thinking like, yes, this is who I am. I don't need to explain parts of it, at least not to myself. I don't have to repeatedly tell myself this is, outside of who I am, or like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, have you ever tried to explain yourself to yourself? And like trying to come up with excuses for yourself, or just saying like, hey, I'm just like horrible at this or something. What I'm talking about is the opposite of that. So saying no, it's an ownership in yourself and thinking, hi, this is me. This is one facet of me. Here's another facet of me. Here's another. And all of these facets come together to make this beautiful gem of me. And I can see the world all through these facets as well. So to me, it's very much like looking through a gem of, I am unique and I have, nothing's perfect. These facets are chipped away in ways that allow me to see different angles of things, of different perspectives of things, and allow me to experience the world in a different way than others do. And so often when we are getting to know someone new, we're discovering their own facets. Like, what are your facets like? How does it look from your point of view? And that's the beauty of life right there, right? Is sharing that and understanding things in different ways, and then knowing how to come together so that more and more people are supported in their different viewpoints as well. So what is the opposite of acceptance? So some of the words that I looked up and I thought were really interesting is like denial. So if you are in denial of part of yourself, so I'm still looking at this from my point of view, is like if you're in denial of one part of you and you're just like, no, I just need to do better. That's not how I permanently am. Like there are moments where you want to improve yourself, right? There are moments where you're like, I just know deep down I can do a little better. And of course, through improving your skills, or just trying something new and just saying, you know what, I'm going to improve myself a little and meeting a goal that you want to, or it could be a big goal, whatever it is. But when you're looking at part of yourself and you may have someone else's, words coming to mind saying, well, you're not good enough at cooking. You're not good enough at art. You're not good enough at these things. And so you could be thinking those things, but it's really someone else's judgment that just kind of keeps replaying in your mind. When those keep happening, there can be this denial of like, well, if I'm not good at drawing, I'm not artistic. I actually just experienced this with a family member this evening. Was like, she was saying, oh, you guys are the artists. I'm not the artist. And we have to repeatedly go, no, you're an artist too, like in your own way. And when we're kind of in denial of saying, no, that's just not part of me. I'm not an artistic person. It's like, you're kind of leaving yourself behind a little bit. You're kind of excluding yourself from this community who really is artistic and really does come together. And artistry, as I've said in past podcasts, is so wide of scope of different mediums, whether it's cooking, whether it's gardening, whether it's pen on paper, whether it's digital, whether it's singing, whether it's creating these amazing spreadsheets for people, whether it's engineering a building where people have these amazing experiences. And even if it's not amazing, like art doesn't have to be absolutely amazing, but it's an experience. So if you're creating something that somebody experiences, wearing art, making stickers, putting them on things, that is a part of you. If you're cooking and creating this amazing dish, that's part of you. But when you keep putting yourself on the back seat and saying, no, that's not me, I'm not creative, then you're kind of not meeting yourself where you're at. You could be rejecting yourself. You can be brushing off these things that, so another example is maybe you're having trouble with something and you keep saying, well, I'm just lazy at something. And again, I don't believe the word lazy applies to anybody. I believe there are concrete reasons why people do not do things. But like when you repeatedly say, well, I'm just lazy, I just need to get off my butt and do this. And there are times where it could be a lack of motivation. It could be a lack of energy. It could be a lack of like reason. Why am I doing this for myself? There's so many different things that can come into play with that. But if you're brushing off an actual need that you have, if you're brushing off like, hey, this is something that I'm not tending to in my life, that I am not taking care of, that I'm not observing in a way that gives myself more room, then maybe we need to take another look at that. Maybe there's even a refusal to look at that part of yourself. Maybe you're like, no, I can't even go there. And I'm not talking about just trauma or something really serious in your life. I'm talking about like thinking about why you're always late to something and refusing to look at it as something that needs to be changed. Now, sometimes you don't have to change this, but maybe there's something where you can meet yourself where you're at instead of constantly saying like, oh, that's not a problem for me, or that's not. And again, we have to kind of try to exclude the social lens of things of like, well, other people expect me to be this way, so I have to be this way. And so that's a whole nother podcast. But what I'm talking about when I'm talking about all these things, like all these different ingredients of like going, okay, where can we meet ourselves exactly where we are, where we're not going back and trying to catch up on things, where we're not trying to say, you know what, I am totally, not stepping up to society standards. I'm not. Let's not think that way. How can we meet ourselves exactly where we're at? How can we say right this moment, I don't have a lot of energy. In this season of my life, I don't have a lot of energy. In this season of my life, I don't have a lot of time. But I can see that it's a season for some of these things. Now, for other people, it's not a season. It's a way of life. I don't have the energy for this. I can't keep pressing forward. That's just not how I can live my life anymore. That has shifted. That is something either new or has always been in your life. Like, no, I'm meeting myself where I'm at. I'm asking for more help. I'm there when I need me. And in that, what I mean by that is I'm speaking up for myself. I'm advocating for myself. And how can we see ourselves through all those facets, through all those different ways, looking at ourselves and going, this is who I am. And I accept where I am at. And I'm not saying acceptance is easy, because it can be very hard to look back at your life going, wow, I used to be able to do things, especially with chronic illness, right? I used to be able to. And what I've noticed over the years, before I realized, oh, this is ADHD that I've had all this time, or, any kind of neurodivergency of like going, wait, there was something all along in my life that I was struggling with, that I was struggling to kind of fit into this world. And I don't believe you need to have a formal diagnosis. I don't feel like you have to go out and search for that. I don't feel like you have to have a label. I don't feel like you have to do anything. But are you accepting yourself where you're at? Are you saying, yes, it's okay to be me and to do things the way that I'm doing them, or to tell other people, this is how I am. This is my sexuality. This is my identity. This is how I navigate the world. This is all of me. And so when you accept yourself, even though it can be very hard for others to, that's like one of the deepest things you can do and feel inside your body. This calm inner strength, this quiet strength in you. It can be loud at times, but there is just something like, it's this knowing, it's this trust that you feel of like, no, this is really me. Why am I talking about this? Because when you accept you and seeing through your own facets, it can be easier for you to accept others. And when you accept others, you don't need to understand all of them. You will never understand every little facet that they see the world through and how they walk through the world and what their experiences are. It's not about that. It's not about having a complete understanding of them. But if you understand you and you accept you, then you can go through the world and accept others and meet them where they are, because that's kind of what we all want right now. So thank you for joining me on the My Senses, My Space podcast.